Think back to 1849. Americans are rushing west, right? Searching for gold. Well, today we are in the middle of a brand new gold rush. But this time around, the gold isn't buried underground. No, it's hidden inside massive data centers, complex algorithms, and artificial intelligence. And look, while some folks are literally becoming billionaires almost overnight, millions of others are sitting there wondering, wait, is AI going to replace my job? So who is actually winning America's AI gold rush, and who's getting left behind? Let's dive into this explainer. We're going to tackle a 170-year-old business rule that the AI revolution has just completely shattered, and we'll figure out exactly why things are getting so incredibly weird.
To help us make sense of this chaotic new landscape, we're going to break this down into 5 parts: the broken gold rush, the great stack collapse, competence on demand, the death of beginner work, and finally, the war for intention.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1, the broken gold rush, when the shovel does the work.
Let's zoom out for a second and look at the macro view. You have probably heard this classic piece of business advice 1,000 times: don't chase the gold, sell the shovel. For over a century, business schools have absolutely loved teaching this lesson. I mean, it sounds super wise, and the best part is it doesn't require anyone to actually go outside and dig in the dirt. It basically tells us that the hidden winners in any boom are the folks providing the infrastructure. But here's the thing, the AI gold rush has totally broken this metaphor.
Think about it. Back in 1849, a shovel just waited in a drawer until you picked it up. It simply helped humans do the work. But today, the AI shovel is a whole different beast. It writes code, it designs logos, it can fire off customer emails, and yeah, it can even generate a slick sales deck. In every single previous gold rush, the shovel just assisted us. But today, the shovel is actually learning to do the work itself. And man, that changes absolutely everything about who wins and who loses in this new economy.
Which brings us to Section 2, the great stack collapse, a knife fight in a glass elevator.
So, moving from historical metaphors to the brutal reality of today's market. At first glance, the AI industry looked like this beautifully clean, consultant-friendly tech stack. At the bottom, you've got the hardware, the physical machinery. We're talking semiconductor factories, cloud computing providers, energy grids, and the construction crews quietly pulling in massive profits. These are the hidden winners. Then, right in the middle, you have the model labs, think OpenAI and Google, acting as the big brains of the operation. And sitting pretty at the top, you have the apps. These are the polite little products promising to save you 20 minutes a day. For a hot second, everyone had their lane. But spoiler alert, that peace did not last long at all. Suddenly, this neat little stack turned into a literal knife fight in a glass elevator. Everyone could see everyone else, and they all started moving up and down, invading each other's turf. The model companies decided they wanted direct users, and the app companies, they wanted to become massive platforms themselves. AI isn't just creating new categories anymore, it is completely dissolving the old ones entirely. Search engines are turning into answer engines, code editors are suddenly acting like your junior developer, design tools want to just build the entire app for you.
And that leads us to this terrifying question, the one that is quite literally keeping AI startup founders awake at night. If every single product just becomes a blank box where a user types what they want, why on earth do they need your specific product? The scary truth here is that yesterday's entire startup company is rapidly turning into today's simple drop-down menu inside someone else's platform.
To put it in perspective, imagine you open a cozy little coffee shop inside a bustling mall. You work crazy hard, you build up a super loyal following. Then, one Tuesday morning, the mall landlord opens an exact replica of your shop directly across the hall. They control the rent, they control the foot traffic, and somehow they have your exact secret menu. That right there is the extreme platform risk these AI startups are facing right now. They're building on top of foundation models that are eventually just going to compete directly with them.
All right, Section 3, competence on demand, the psychological upgrade. Let's shift gears from the massive corporate battlefield down to a much more personal one. Because this gold rush isn't just happening between tech giants, it's happening right inside our own heads. For a lot of folks, AI is this incredible ticket to extraordinary wealth, multiplying what one person can do. You've got developers building full AI products from their bedrooms and single creators reaching millions of customers. But AI doesn't just sell productivity, it actually sells identity. Think about how Photoshop didn't just sell image editing, it sold us taste. Or how the smartphone sold us constant relevance. Well, AI is selling us permission to become a completely different, leveled-up version of ourselves.
It sells this dangerously seductive concept called competence on demand.
Suddenly, small teams and non-technical founders can build complex software. Junior employees can perform with the wisdom of a senior exec. Overwhelmed managers can look strategic and on top of things again. Students can totally skip the terror of the blank page. It basically allows us to produce the appearance of skill way before we actually fully understand the skill itself. It's an absolutely massive psychological upgrade.
But there's a catch. Section 4, the death of beginner work. Removing the bottom rungs. This psychological upgrade brings us to a huge, mostly hidden problem about how we humans actually learn. See, AI makes generating mediocre output incredibly fast, cheap, and abundant. But developing real judgment, that is still slow, it's messy, it's totally human-driven, and it is becoming increasingly scarce. Because when literally anyone can generate a massive deck or write boilerplate code in 10 seconds, the truly valuable asset in our modern economy is no longer generation, it's human judgment. Like, can you actually tell if the strategy the AI just spat out is completely stupid?
And this is exactly where we start seeing the workers who are getting left behind. Across America, we're facing this rapidly emerging skills gap. Tasks that used to fill up entry-level offices or customer service centers, analysts making basic slide decks, junior devs writing simple code, assistants drafting routine emails, can now be done in seconds by AI. If your job is mostly producing a first draft, AI is coming very, very close to replacing that. But here's the real tragedy. Those entry-level jobs weren't meaningless grunt work. They were the messy, early ladders we all use to metabolize skills and actually learn that crucial judgment.
There's a quote from our source material that hits the nail right on the head. Civilization is not built only on output. It is built on people becoming capable of judging output. If AI steps in and does all the beginner work, effectively removing the bottom rungs of the career ladder, a massive gap opens up. We really have to ask ourselves, how in the world will beginners ever become senior experts if that messy, friction-filled training phase just disappears entirely?
Which leads us to our final part. Section 5, the war for intention. Owning the doorway.
This brings us right back to the ultimate software war for dominance, a battle that's going to decide if all this opportunity stays locked up in Silicon Valley or actually spreads out to smaller communities. The real war today isn't about who has the absolute best chatbot. No, it's a war over intention. Who gets to sit right there between human intention and human action? When you decide you need something done, where do you begin? That very first prompt box you choose to type into is incredibly powerful because it shapes every option you see after that. It dictates what tools get used and what becomes your normal workflow. Everyone is fighting tooth and nail to own that doorway. So, in a future where the cost of generating output literally drops to zero, the world isn't automatically going to become smarter. Honestly, we might just end up buried under a mountain of professionally formatted mediocrity. To make sure you don't get left behind, you need to start cultivating what we call new luxury modes. Things like taste, trust, deep context, and crucially, knowing what not to make. These deeply human skills, this cultivated judgment, that is going to be your ultimate career defense.
Look, the AI gold rush isn't coming soon. It is already here. And it's showing us that we don't just want machines to do our chores. We kind of want them to make us feel way more capable than we actually are. But as this wild new reality unfolds, I really want to leave you with this one thought. When the machine is busy generating better versions of ourselves, are you actively developing your own judgment, or are you just letting the tool generate output while it slowly becomes the manager? The real question isn't whether AI is going to change the future. The question is, will you be one of the winners or one of those left behind? Something to chew on as you navigate this crazy shift.